genres within metal. And some classics in there, too. Got brand new music from Lamb of God on Saturday night. They dropped a new track. Got new music from Kill the Lights, band I'm digging. We'll dig back into some old Metallica. Got some brand new Judas Priest. They also dropped a brand new track. Throw some Mushroom Head out there for you. They're doing that 30th anniversary and Halloween show next week, next Saturday night. I'll have tickets for you here for that all next week. Play some Fear Factory on Saturday night. I'm going to have tickets for you for them next week, too. They're opening that Machine Head tour. That's coming in February at MGM Northfield Park. So if you're into metal, Saturday nights, 10 to midnights, 2 hours to midnight is the name. And I hope you can join us. 2HTM at WMMS.com for requests or submit your band or whatever it is.
Hey, why don't we get together and have a charity mud wrestling event with Bridget Linton versus Gab Cruz. Winner take all. Battle Royale. Alan can MC. Bill can be the referee. Poundcake can ring the bell. And Mary can take on the winner. Hate the show.
Poundcake, how do you feel? You want to...
This has been the horniest week our listeners have ever had. Like, it's just hot girl week on the Alan Cox Show.
Yeah, Bridget Linton yesterday, Gab Cruz,
and then Kelsey
Cook. Of course, all of us. I mean, I feel like some people, you know, they get so used to a couple of hot pieces of ass on the show every day, just in here, that they might get desensitized.
Well, you know, different appetites.
Well, that's why I wanted to steer them into Poundcake's Tidy Whities, so that they would know where we were coming from.
Next time I wear my Tidy Whities, I'll send you a picture since you want to know so bad.
Don't send me a picture.
I'll put it in the group chat.
No.
Do not put it in the group chat.
Do not.
You send that personally to Alan.
Don't send it to me.
You know what? You're right. You need to print it up and then put it in his locker when he's not here.
Yeah, mail it right to HR. How about that? Speaking of horny, I was watching a thing on TikTok. An old hooker. She's 70 years old. And I guess they were doing a thing where they were doing an interview with her or people were asking questions. She was pulling cards out of a box.
She got some miles on her. 70?
Yeah, but I'm telling you, not as many as you'd think, because the headline is 70-year-old escort claims she has over 1,000 bodies. And that doesn't sound like a lot to me. If you're 70 years old?
Well, I mean, over 1,000 could also mean over 10,000.
Yeah, that's girl numbers. Like, you always...
She girl math in that.
Every third guy.
Yeah. She grandma math in that.
It's so true. It's so true. Like, every time you ask a girl her number, and this is coming from a gay, like, you could confide in me, and they're like, I've been with 5-ish. I'm like, oh... So 17. So
5-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this woman named Caroline answers anonymous questions from the public. And she's a 70-year-old escort.
How long has she been in the game?
That's a good question.
Because yeah.
I mean, let's say she's been doing it for 50 years.
That's not a lot.
Not a lot.
But, again, over 1,000 doesn't... She didn't put a cap on it either.
Well, I know some twinks that have put up her numbers already, and they were in their 20s.
Well, you know, we're talking about Kiss a lot because of the show on Sunday, and we're going to be handing out some floor seats and all that stuff. But Gene Simmons, of course, for many years was a legendary swordsman, and he said that he had over 4,800 women. That was his body count, and he had the Polaroids to prove it. He's probably being a little cheeky. But my thought is, okay, for the he's been with Shannon Tweed for a long, long time.
I don't believe any of this.
And they finally made it official, not long ago. And so let's cut the last 10 years off. Let's say that over the course of 50 years, he had 48. That's still not a lot.
Yes, it is.
It is?
Yes, 4,800 bodies, yes, it is. But I don't believe that because...
No, but if you're in KISS, all right? That's 120 a year, let's say for the last 40 years. That's not that many. That's 10 a month.
How many STDs has he had? How many doctor's visits has he had? Well,
what's that got to... We're just talking body count. I'm saying that, like, you talk Wilt Chamberlain numbers.
And you also have to understand
Maybe
that
sex parties.
he probably did the majority of that in the first 10 years.
I don't feel like the human body
or
can-
first 20 at least.
Yeah.
I mean, you could still do it in the 80s and probably part of the 90s, but like 10 a month,
bro.
that's not when you're in Kiss, or all those guys wanted to do was play rock and roll and bang chicks.
And he didn't drink and he didn't do any drugs. He just banged chicks.
Poked hole.
That's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Is it?
Yeah.
Maybe to you.
Yeah.
To you.
That's like touching a rail in like a subway or like an airport. Like everyone has had a turn with that thing. Like you're
Sure,
not
he
gonna
wore a
put your
glove.
Well, you don't know what
You
these
don't
guys
know.
were doing. I mean, their pullout game might have been strong. And it might have been 3 girls a night. It might have spread them out. Who knows,
Oh, they were spread.
We're in Topeka, and because that's part of the image, too.
Well, I feel like he is making a point to say 4,800. Like that's almost like an exact number. And I know in my humble sample size, I lost count. Like that's a lot of effort to go through and just make a slash each time you have someone over. Like sometimes it's in a car, sometimes it's spontaneous. You don't have a notepad every single time. You're making a big effort to make sure you count that person.
Well, he's not going to say 4,832, and you don't have the exact number.
but I'm saying, I think after
most
1,000, you forget.
Yeah, but he said he's got the Polaroids.
But yeah,
to prove if this guy took a picture of at the top of every girl's head
so
and then he
nasty.
threw it in a shoebox, and then one day he's like, let me count these up. Let me have my assistant count these.
As sex positive as I am, that's gross.
So you're sex negative about Gene Simmons.
That's just nasty. 4,800 bodies on you.
Yeah, but you're also touring the world. So there's
That's
girls from every country.
And
I think it's impressive.
And it's not one-on-one. The only way you could occur that much.
Accrue?
Accrue. The only way.
Oh, Kurt.
Oh, girl!
You could
Oh,
accrue
crew.
that many bodies is he's not going one-on-one. He's having threesomes and foursomes.
Well,
and
that's what I'm
orgies.
saying. You get a bunch
Right.
of girls in the but it could just be a couple girls back in the hotel room on a given night.
Rapper Cardi B is hoping to trademark the very specific way she says okay, and we're not kidding.
Do it.
I can't.
Try it.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, here is Caroline, the 70-year-old escort, and they're asking her about her body count.
What's your body count?
Is like how many people have you had sex with?
That was the first thought that came to mind. It's probably about 1,000. Because I saw several hundred when I was swinging, because we did it on a regular basis. And when I go away touring, which is basically to go to a town somewhere in the country and then have clients, I probably would have 2 or 3 a day. But then some of them are repeat, so it's like, how many times have you or how many different people have here?
That sounds. First of all, it sounds incredibly sweet.
Yeah, I
And
know
this
she's
British
like.
lady, but
I don't know if she's anyone's grandmother, but I mean,
Totally.
she's like, it'd be like asking how many times have you taken a dump.
and it sounds like she's also not a current. And like she didn't
Absolutely
do this
not.
for a long time. It sounds like she did this at one point in her life for a few years, and then that was that.
Yeah, because there's people, grandmas now, who still want to get it in with the young guys, and they carry themselves different. She looks like a Grammy.
She's had her fill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Poundcake calls bull shrimp on Gene Simmons.
4,800 bodies, man.
Well,
It's
it's,
just hard
like
to fathom.
when Wilt Chamberlain back in the day was like 10,000 women. I mean, that's when people go, okay, bro, you would have had to have banged a dozen a day since you were born. Like, it's not, the numbers don't really work out that way. But listen, the guys in Kiss were always like, anybody who says they started a band to play music is lying. They did it to get chicks. Now, you've heard Kiss, so you know they didn't get into music to play music. They did get into it to bang chicks. But there are a lot of people, you know, that vibe has kind of changed. Even with those bands that are still out there and touring, obviously that fan base has gotten older with them. But you can get canceled now for that kind of stuff. You just can't do that stuff now. But back in the day, that was the time to do it. If you were in Motley Crue or you were in Kiss, I mean, you know, when I was playing drums in bands, you know, in retrospect, I'm like, if I had ever been in a band that had gotten popular or successful, I'd be dead because I would have taken everything that had been sent my way. With no guardrails in that situation, I would have taken every person and thing that came my way. I would have been dead by 35. But those guys, still doing it. So they clearly didn't get something that, you know, they didn't get something that was going to kill them early. Those guys are like in their mid-70s. People have been calling them too old to tour for a while now. But they're out there doing it. Gene Simmons is 74 years old. Paul Stanley is 71 years old. And he still picks up the occasional shift.
He's got to do what he's got to do.
Here's Paul Stanley as an Applebee's waiter.
Hello, my name is Paul Stanley. I'll be taking care of y'all tonight.
Hi.
Is anybody celebrating a birthday?
No.
How are you all feeling?
Fine, I guess.
Oh, I'm sorry. What? I can't hear ya.
We're doing quite well. Thank you.
Would any of y'all like to start with an appetizer such as grilled chicken wonton tacos?
Honey, appetizer? No, I think we're good.
Or maybe you just like to get started with some alcohol?
You know what? I think we'll just order our entrees now. I'll have the Bourbon Street steak, and my wife will have the chicken Caesar salad.
Okay, that sounds nice. I'm gonna be right back with some waters.
That would be great.
That was Paul Stanley as an Applebee's waiter.
When Kelsey Cook was in here and fell into her, she's adopted the Minnesota accent because she's living up there with Chad Daniels now. Made me think of, I was reading about how they have expanded the Law and Order franchise into its first international adaptation. Law and Order Toronto is going to be premiering. It's Law and Order Toronto, Criminal Intent. And so it's Canadian actors. So there's a couple you might recognize if you watch Schitt's Creek. If you watch any number of Canadian shows that are, you know, you can get them on streamers now, you might recognize some of these people. But La Renata Toronto, that's going to be fun. They're going to do a 10-episode first season. But, I mean, if you've been to Toronto, sure, they've got crime. Yeah. It's not squeaky clean. It's not Naperville, Illinois. But it's hopefully a different vibe there when they do La Renata Toronto. They might not be throwing as many guys on car hoods. You know, they might not be whipping out their piece immediately. It's going to be like, hey, pick up that Tim's cup, you chucklehead. That kind of stuff. Getting jaywalkers and litterers. I can't believe it took them this long to do another one. You know, La Renata has been on for so long, in so many iterations. Usually shows that have been on that long, they're on in 26 countries. But this is
it's
their
been
first
on in a lot, but it's like, it's one thing.
Yeah, it airs in countries, yeah, but this is the first time that they're doing a franchise in another country. La Renata, Toronto, Criminal Intent. Well, who doesn't have criminal intent? What's criminal intent mean? Because the American version, they have I keep saying La Renata like my friend from Providence. They have Law and Order, Criminal Intent. What does that mean? I like OG Law and Order. I like Sam Waterston. I like whoever else is on that show. I like Jerry Orbach. I like to go that far back with La Renata. So I don't know if they'll show that down here.
All right.
But if you have a VPN and you watch the CBC, then you can be watching LNO-TCI.
I sent you a video of the Toronto accent, which is atrocious.
Yeah.
Let it play for like 2 seconds because she starts off with an S bomb.
Okay.
And then it's brutal.
Okay, hold on. Let me get the sound down here.
Somebody go smoke that youth. You don't leave your moms nowhere. You have money and you left your moms there?
Yeah. Just you get the idea. I don't know if she swears again.
But that's a girl who lives in Toronto.
Right.
I have never heard that accent in Toronto. That sounds like a rural accent on somebody. That's not somebody that came
I want
from...
some voices like that on
well, absolutely.
On Law and Order for authenticality.
East LA mixed with Minnesota. Somebody accent alone deserves jail time.
Somebody go smoke that youth. You don't leave your moms nowhere. You have money and you left your moms there?
Uh-huh.
To my stomach, fam. But if
You're sick to... Well, yeah, because she sounds like Armenian or something. I don't know. Whatever.
It's a bad accent for sure. Very funny though.
Yeah, I like it. I'll watch that show. La Renata.
Still a bummer that they don't have Law and Order in Pittsburgh.
Hey, put that down. How dare you drop that Permanis wrapper right there on the side of the road? I swear to God, I'll put you in Allegheny County Jail tomorrow. I don't care. You can't stand in the middle of the Mexican war streets, wipe your ass with a Steelers jersey. You can't do it. Get down. Everybody get down. Donnie, you too, get down.
Just do the
We got criminal intent up in here.
do the SVU opening just in the accent.
What is the SVU opening?
Let me see. It's like in cases of certain, I don't know it off the top of my head.
Oh, I remember the original, the opening line.
Yeah.
In the criminal justice system, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. See, I'm dipping into my Chicago accent here. Pittsburgh. In New York City, dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. These are their stories. That's right.
I love it.
Yep. I caught him in the Liberty Tubes, yanking it. It was 3 a.m. There's nobody in there. He took an Uber all the way to Dormont and he wiped his ass with an Eaton Park cookie. Right? There were little kids at. Wasn't it midnight? Little kids at.